think the Romney campaign, and this is what a lot of Republicans are saying, has allowed the Obama campaign to define him very well and for a little too long. And to that, I mean, this is one quote. I pulled 6, I think, today, and we're just going to go with this one because it's representative from a Jeff Zellany piece in the New York Times. This is Mark McKinnon saying, Team Obama is doing just what we did in 2004. McKinnon was Bush's political strategist, which is to define the opposition furiously and early. Most voters don't have a deep sense of Romney other than he's not Obama. And in this cycle, that may be enough, but it's a very risky approach. You do reach a point where the other team defining you makes it almost like the point of no return. You can't get out of that storyline and that narrative. Now, we can talk about whether Romney's there yet in a minute, but this has been something of a Romney campaign tactic. And very interestingly, we got some insight into his strategy. It was either this morning or yesterday that he said, if you're responding, you're losing. Now, the real political aphorism is if you're explaining, you're losing. So I think it's really interesting insight that Romney is basically putting it out there that we're not going to even respond, let alone explain any of the questions that folks have about us. Now, for the Bain thing, I think it should be pointed out, you know, Obama was running around today and his surrogates were running around today with the Boston Globe piece talking about how Mitt Romney was working at Bain past the time he said he was. Just a few hours ago, Fortune magazine came out and said Mitt Romney did not manage Bain's investments after leaving to run the Salt Lake City Olympics, according to confidential firm documents obtained by Fortune. That literally is a few hours ago that happened. But the question for the table is it too little too late? Is the fact that Romney may be absolved on this Bain stuff, does that even matter anymore? Is the narrative cemented? If it's not too late, what should Romney be doing next to redefine his own storyline? And should Romney be going more negative, the kind of negative we just saw in today's recent ad?
Let me respond to your question with a question
that
that no one has to answer right now because it might be something we need to marinate on for a minute. But has anyone successfully run for president while remaining undefined?
Some people would say President Obama.
I think some would say that, but I'm not sure it's accurate. I think he definitely attempted to define himself. Whether or not it was accurate or not, or full.
I think he defined himself as nebulous and vague. I'm kind of with Amy that he was able to just sort of skate along.
Well, and President Obama himself said that he was a Rorschach test, that people project onto him whatever it is they want to believe, and that it seemed to be at least his strategy to remain nebulous and amorphous so that he could be this receptacle of people's hopes and dreams.
I think my premise is that we know this, right? Mitt Romney's goal is to basically avoid this conversation and therefore kind of remain undefined. And I think that's smart if it's accomplished. Blank slate, vanilla, white sheet of paper, nothing there. That is the perfect thing to run against someone when you want it to be the referendum on that person, right? Well, so Mitt Romney doesn't want this to be about him in any way. Now the question is, I think your premise is, you're not getting to be undefined. You're getting to be defined by your opposition.
To the point,
and I'm not sure that's true.
To Tessie's question, I think he's getting to the point where he's going to start asking the question himself, where do I go to get my reputation back? You know, he's getting slandered here all over the place, as Essie points out, with things that are not true. They're inaccurate. I think it's heartening to see that he's willing to finally come out, or his campaign is willing to come out and say that these are falsehoods. These are inaccuracies. He absolutely has to do that. But he's also not going to a key strength that I think he has here, which is saying, look, I was successful because I understand business. The economy is in really bad shape in this country. The private sector is the engine of growth for the economy. Who do you think knows more about that? Me or the guy who was teaching at school? He's not saying it loudly enough, Will. I don't think he's making the case.
And the Obama campaign has recently, in the past few days, suggested, I think today there was a headline, that Romney's either a liar or a criminal.
A felon. That's unacceptable.
That is absolutely outrageous, and going to his character in ways that they've sort of skirted around, like the dog on the roof, the bullying incident from high school, even, you know, insinuations that his time at Bain made him kind of a greedy person. This is serious. calling him a liar or a criminal,
so
I would not let that stand.
Are you saying that he's in danger of basically getting swift-boated? I mean, when John Kerry was, under attack for all of the month of August,
that's the concern.
He never recovered from that.
But to Will's point, that is the concern. But to Will's point, and it just made me think of something, all of those conversations we had about Occupy Wall Street, right, and Tea Party. The good thing to do when you're starting a mass movement is to be vague, to be sort of goalless, so that you can keep it going regardless of what changes with the social tide and the zeitgeist, and you can adapt yourself. If you reach that goal, movement over. So maybe there is something to his being vague and unresponsive.
Well, your girlfriend Newt Gingrich,
my gal pal,
your gal pal, said that he needs to find his inner animal. Now, in this,
Mitt
needs to find his. In this instance, he should come out and say, you know what? While you were doing whatever it is you were doing on the streets of Chicago, I was running a business.
That's
wait,
we're on the same page here, buddy.
Economic decisions are made without emotion and without anecdotal stories. In this regulatory environment, this is how Bain Capital made money. If you don't like jobs getting shipped overseas, if you don't like companies like mine rescuing these companies, peel back these regulations that people like you made. He needs to come out and say, not to call Obama a kid, because he's 50 years old, but to basically portray him as completely naive and say,
I think you're right, but I think it has to be more than the words. It has to be emotional and a tone. I want to see him angry. I want to see him say, this is disgusting. This is the lowest of the low. How low will this guy get? I want to see him outraged, not just take him to task sort of intellectually, which is what you're suggesting. You're right. But I need emotion.
I totally agree. I think if he doesn't do that,
we need to do the work.
I don't think he can get it done the way he's going. I really don't. It's amazing, day after day. Where are the Romney sound bites where you're like, wow, he really crushed it today? It doesn't happen. And while we sometimes parse what Obama's saying, we're like, well, this is nonsense, this whole tax thing, this is class warfare, that works with people, and it works with people that he's trying to get to vote for him. Meanwhile, all I get are emails and tweets from conservatives who are like, Mitt Romney's not a conservative. Why are you defending him? I'm like, well, first of all, he's the alternative to Obama. And second of all, he has a lot of good stuff that he could push out there. Yes, the negativity, he needs to fight back against that, but he needs to say, who do you think knows more about the economy? I know more than this guy in the White House.